to share with you the marvelous teachings that Srila Prabhupada has so mercifully brought to us, without which we would not be sitting here tonight. So it is a great pleasure to share them and to hope that all here and all on the internet, after receiving them, will also share them with their friends and their neighbors and their relatives and friends, so that Krishna consciousness gets spread all over the world. Again, thank you. I beg for your prayers that I may say something useful and beneficial and helpful to everyone, not only here and outside, but everywhere or anywhere this talk is being heard. And I depend very much upon the prayers of devotees, because Krishna responds to those prayers and will help me to help everyone here, including myself. Thank you very much. Oh. Thanks so much. Move this a little closer. Put that on. So without any further ado, let's all chant in a song-like manner the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers, which are always done before the talk begins, as a way of inducing the Supreme Lord to bestow his mercy, which is the subject and title of tonight's talk, how to win the Lord's mercy. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana, Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana, Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vijana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vijana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Astatura Satri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Astatura Satri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today I will be speaking from the text of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. How many of us have this book? Raise your hand, please, so I know. And how many of you have read the book? Good. Okay. That was more than half. So thank you. The chapter is chapter 10. This is one of the nutshell verses. And it's text number 10. And I'll also be talking to some extent about text 11. So I will read the Sanskrit to begin with, and those of you who know the Sanskrit are welcome to chant it after I do. Tesham satata yuktanam, but go ahead. Bhajatam vrittikorvakam, dadami buddhi yogam tam, Yena mam upayante te. Yes, who would like to start? Tesham satata yuktanam. Come. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Tesham satata yuktanam. Bhajatam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Yena mamu payante te. Anyone else? Tesham satata yuktanam. Bhajatam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Yena mam upayante te. Anybody else? Any of the ladies? No? Okay, then I'll move ahead into the translation. Krishna is speaking to Arjuna on a battlefield. Arjuna has gotten antsy, uncertain, worried about fighting this battle because there are people on the opposite side whom he has to fight against who are related to him. Some of them are cousins, some of them are grandfathers. I should say one of them is a grandfather. Also he has uncles, lots of friends. It's not easy to go into battle and to have to try and kill someone you love. It's quite a paradox right there, to kill someone you love. But nonetheless, it is his duty. He's a warrior. His business is to defend his kingdom. And his kingdom is being threatened by the enemy or the villain, Duryodhana. So it's either virtue or vice, good or evil. And he stands for good. And in order for good to prevail, he must prevail. So it's not easy to prevail against people whom you have affection for. So that's what the situation is. And Krishna is explaining to him in many different ways why he should fight this battle. And he should have no worries. He should have no misgivings or uncertainties. This is a righteous battle. And he has every reason to try to protect his kingdom, to try to protect virtue, because virtue has been violated as a result of Duryodhana going back on a promise which he should not have done. And consequently, Krishna is explaining to him how to become, first of all, to get the mercy of Krishna, how to get the guidance of Krishna, how to get the inner strength from Krishna, how to get the love from Krishna. He's explaining all this. And so in this verse it says, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So please repeat, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the word buddhi yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of buddhi yoga. Now, buddhi yoga is explained. Buddhi yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness, as Srila Prabhupada will further explain. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called buddhi yoga. Again, buddhi yoga. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, In other words, Buddha Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees, as you're all doing now, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna. And when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. So let me go into this a little bit rather than jump to the next paragraph. Prabhupada has said twice that the goal is Krishna. So I'd like to explain a little bit about that. So what does it mean when he's saying the goal is Krishna? It seems that there are many other words that need to be added in terms of what goal are we talking about. All of us have different goals. Some of us have a goal to make more money. Excuse me. Some of us may have a goal, such as to make more money, become wealthy, become beautiful, to become powerful, strong, influential, to become famous, to become knowledgeable materially, and also to become very detached from the stresses and strains and anxieties of material living. So these are what we call common materialistic goals. Some of us may have the goal of wanting to achieve something on the mental plane, such as wanting to get a high school education, or a college education, or a master's degree, or a PhD, or several PhDs. These are goals that people have. They're common goals. They're goals that people live for and die for. So it's it's natural to have a goal because it motivates us to try to accomplish something in particular. So Prabhupada says, Krishna is the goal. Now, what does he mean by that? Here are all these other goals that I mentioned, but those are not the goals that people in general strive for. And that is because they really either don't know Krishna or they don't know the value of Krishna. They don't know the importance of Krishna. It is Krishna who is enabling us to do everything and anything in our life. We can't think without the mercy of Krishna. Krishna is all-powerful, or as we say, omnipotent. He's omniscient. He knows everything. And he's present everywhere in every atom of creation, including in each and every one of our hearts. So Krishna is within us. Krishna is outside us. Krishna is everywhere. Krishna knows everything. And Krishna loves everyone. So everyone should feel completely assured that Krishna loves us all. It may not seem like that when we come down with different disorders or diseases or troubles, but that's because we don't understand what mercy really means. Mercy really means receiving from Krishna something that we need to go forward in our spiritual consciousness. This is what mercy is. It can be painful and it can be pleasurable. It depends on what is needed. And Krishna, being in our hearts, knows exactly what is needed. And he will give us what we need. When we have surrendered to Krishna, surrender means I offer my will to you, Krishna, because I accept the fact that you know everything and I really know nothing except a very tiny particle of knowledge. So since you know everything and I surrender my life to you, I give my life to you, why shouldn't I? Well, didn't you make this body? Aren't you the maker of this mind? Aren't you the maker of this intelligence? If you're all those things, then I owe you. You're my, my owner. Yes, we're all owned by Krishna. And as soon as we acknowledge this, as soon as we know and believe and understand that we belong to Krishna, and we surrender to this understanding, then Krishna begins to take over or take care of our lives as we ourselves personally could never do. So that is the idea behind Krishna. So when Prabhupada says the goal is Krishna, he means this. He means that our goal, meaning the end of life, the focus of life, the ultimate end of life should be to develop pure, selfless love of Krishna. So this is a very important point. Pure, selfless love of Krishna. That is the goal. Those words are left out, and that's why I'm adding them. The goal is to have pure, selfless love of Krishna. When we have selfless love of Krishna, it means that we designate that everything we will do or we do is for the pleasure of Krishna. We eat for Krishna. We sleep for Krishna. We work for Krishna. Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, do this as an offering unto me. In this way, you will be freed from the bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, this principle of giving. Giving to whom? Giving to Krishna. So when we get into the habit of thinking in terms of giving, instead of giving to ourselves, to our body, our mind, our intelligence, give it to Krishna as a way of saying, this is my love offering. And the more we can show Krishna how much we love him, how much we appreciate him, how much we feel indebted to him for so many blessings that he gives us every moment, the more he will respond in such a way that he will enable us to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish in our life. So Krishna looks after us. For those who do not surrender to Krishna, who do not want to give themselves to Krishna, who want to forget Krishna, ignore Krishna, disregard Krishna, deny Krishna, disdain Krishna, all these things, he simply lets them work by the law of karma. So karma is like a ball. You throw the ball, throw the ball against the wall and the ball comes back. This is karma. Karma, reaction. Boom, boom. Okay? So it doesn't always hit you in the head though. Therefore Krishna lets the law of karma, that's his law, and he lets it work. And so if you do something good, something kind, something sweet, something loving, something helpful, then it's going to come back to us in some manner or form. If not immediately, then later. And if not later, then far later. And if not far later, maybe the next life or 2 lives down the way. But everything good we do will come back to us. So when good comes to us, it's not coming by accident. It's coming because we've set it in motion sometime in the past. And because it's been set in motion, the ball has been thrown, it then will bounce back and come to us, according to when Krishna thinks it's most useful and beneficial, helpful to us. So that's a person who is not depending on Krishna, who may deny Krishna, who don't want anything to do with Krishna. So if the goal is not Krishna, then one is living by happenstance. What will simply occur, what will simply happen. And if it just happens, well, that's the way, that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's not just the way the cookie crumbles. We've made the cookie crumble that way. And we have to learn to take the responsibility for everything that happens, and to know that by doing the kinds of actions which will be pleasurable, which will be favorable to Lord Sri Krishna, by doing those, what happens is that more and more he will begin to shelter us, guide us, help us, enable us. In other words, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So as they surrender unto me, what does it mean to surrender to Krishna? I've used the word a few times. Let me explain it because it's very closely tied in with the principle of mercy and the principle of love. To surrender to Krishna, there are actually 6 points which are made in Srila Prabhupada's books. To accept whatever is favorable, for discharging devotional service. Favorable means that which Krishna favors, that which he likes, that which he encourages, that which he endorses, that which he encourages us to do. So that which is favorable for discharging devotional service. That's surrender. To reject whatever is unfavorable for practicing devotional service. So there are certain things that Krishna tells us not to do if we want to be a part of his club, if we want to be in his camp. So what are some of those things? Well, we have 4 regulative principles in Krishna consciousness: not to eat meat, fish, or eggs, or any of these types of things, or chicken. So Krishna says, no, don't eat those things. He also says, don't get involved in intoxication, because it'll distort your consciousness. The meat, fish, and eggs, it will not only harm your body because of the toxins that are created as a result, but it will also have an effect upon the whole world, because if you kill animals, it has what we call a worldwide karmic thing. For example, when a whole country gets involved in the slaughter of animals, it affects everybody. Of course, those persons who do not slaughter, well, I'm going to get to that, can be protected by Krishna. We see all of this nor'easter. We've been watching the TV, and we see that there's a big storm that came through. 7 dead through the storm. 1 tree fell down on a house, and it hit, and it went right through the house, and went through the roof, and it smashed this little 5-year-old boy. Someone might say, how could Krishna be kind if he does something like that? So again, we don't know what that little boy was, or who that little boy was in a previous lifetime when he smashed somebody over the head with a tree trunk or with a tree branch. We don't know that. We don't see that, but Krishna does. And when you're an advanced soul, you see that also, that everything is being worked out according to the plan of ball hits the wall, bounces back, and hits us. You throw nice things at the wall, you get nice things back. You throw nasty things, you get nasty things back. So, therefore, people in general see things from the superficial point of view, not from the karmic point of view, as that things are the result of things that we have done. We have done these things, and now they're coming back. Sometimes a person comes over to you, says some sweet words, kind words, affectionate words, and you say, thank you very much. And you wonder, why is this happening? And at another time, a person says, you look like a fool. Why do you even show your face in public? It says, well, excuse me, did I do something to make you say that? Yeah, you just exist. That's enough to make me say that. So, therefore, out of the blue? No, not out of the blue. You said something in the past to someone, you felt good about it, you chewed them out, you talked them down, and you felt higher, bigger, better, greater, and walked away proud, and now it's come back. Okay? Nothing happens without cause. Okay? Once we understand that we cause our destiny, then we have to be especially watchful of everything we say, everything we think, everything we do, because everything is going out there. And the more we send out there, which is positive, which is useful, purposeful, helpful, kind, sweet, generous, loving, all these things, it's going to come back to us. Sometimes people say, that person, he's always getting good things happening to him. And I don't get any of those good things. All I get is lots of misery, lots of trouble, lots of difficulty coming all the time. So there are reasons for this. This is a very important principle, that we control our destiny in the sense that the more we cooperate with, the more we surrender to, the more we live for Krishna's pleasure, the more he's going to take interest in our lives. The more he will shelter us. The more he will guide us. The more he will direct us. For example, let's say I have a big karmic reaction coming. In the past, 2 lives down the way, maybe I, for example, chopped off somebody's hand okay, deliberately in a war or in a fight or something. So I have a karmic reaction coming to me to get my hand chopped off. But if you become a devotee of Krishna, Krishna analyzes this. Will it be useful for my devotee to have his hand chopped off when I have so many things I would like him to do for his further advancement and development? Would that make a lot of sense? So he evaluates it, he balances it, he considers the whole thing. So instead of chopping the hand off, he may chop a little piece of a finger off, and it heals and he gets better. Or he may eliminate or eradicate the karmic reaction completely. He can do that because he's in charge of the law. It's like the king can do no wrong. So even if the king does wrong, nobody can attack him. So the important point is that that Krishna is in charge. So if we give our life to Krishna, giving our life to Krishna means I am yours. I belong to you, Lord. And we can't have the children talking here. They have to take the children out. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, the child has to come out. I'm sorry. I love your child, but I also love the audience sitting here who's waiting to hear the next group of words. You can get this on the internet if you want to. So, getting back, where was I? Somebody want to remind me of my last point? Huh? A little loud. Oh, yeah. Pardon? Yeah, okay. Then thank you. So, therefore, the person says, I am yours, my Lord. Take me, use me, make me your own. Let me do your service. If it's hard, I'll accept it. If it's light, I'll accept it. Whatever service you have for me, I will accept. As a Vaishnav, we take any kind of service. Lowly service, there's no such thing as lowly service for a Vaishnav. Vaishnav is what we are, Krishna devotees. Nothing is lowly. For example, if there's a piece of paper lying on the floor here, somebody who's has some standing in this movement, maybe a governing body commissioner, might be a sannyasi, maybe a temple president, piece of paper is on the floor, it's there, and the Lord is having to look at that. So a person who's a Vaishnav, as soon as he sees it, he picks it up and throws it in the trash. He doesn't want Krishna to see anything that is in a disturbing condition. In other words, there's not supposed to be paper on the floor. So he picks it up and he holds it or throws it in the trash. Another person who's a big shot in this movement, he may say, well, I don't pick up paper. I give out orders. I explain philosophy. I know so much science. So when a person thinks in those terms, then he's not a Vaishnav. He's a fool. That's right, he's a fool because he's identifying himself with his actions, with his position, with his status, with how high he is or how low he is. This is what is called materialistic thinking. Whether you're in a temple setting, whether you're in a materialistic outside setting, anyone who thinks he's better, bigger, higher, greater, grander than somebody else is a fool. The only one who's high and big and grand and great and wonderful is Krishna. And to the extent that we surrender to Krishna, to the extent that we give our love to Krishna, to the extent that we look up to Krishna, to the extent that we depend upon Krishna, as Krishna says, in all activities just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Yeah, that's right. He says, if you don't think of me, you'll be lost. That's his words. So all of us who don't think of Krishna and are having difficulties, troubles, trials, tribulations, problems, pressures, and strife of whatever sort, it's all because we're not thinking enough of Krishna. Or if we are thinking enough of Krishna, and we are thinking plenty of Krishna, and we're getting some difficulties and troubles, then Krishna is simply enabling us to feel the pains, the difficulties, the tribulations, the trials that people feel, so that we can become more compassionate, more understanding, more loving, more kind, more sweet, more considerate. Lord Chaitanya was considered the most munificent incarnation of Lord, whose appearance day we just celebrated a few days ago. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Goda Tvijay Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more magnanimous than any other incarnation of God, because he is bestowing what no other incarnation of Krishna has ever bestowed: pure love of Krishna. That's what he's giving us. That's why we honor this very great day, and we try in our very best, in our humbling, bumbling way, to try to emulate Lord Chaitanya, who wherever he went, he gave out the holy names. He gave out, remember, as I said before, Krishna is the goal. So wherever Lord Chaitanya went, he would chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram. Because he was blessing people. People were getting, it's like the rain of love coming down, and people would receive that, and they would start to chant it. And when they would chant it, they couldn't stop chanting it, and then they would tell it to some of their friends, their relatives, and then they started chanting, and they couldn't stop it. It was like a domino effect. Everyone was chanting here, there, and everywhere, and then he would move on to the next town, next village, next city. He was giving out the mercy. So again, the main point I want to make so far is that we have within our power the ability to create a great life for ourselves. And we also have the power to create a horrible life for ourselves. We can choose. The more we become focused on the goal, namely Krishna, serving him, loving him, adoring him, remembering him. There's so many ways. We have so many books. We have tapes of Srila Prabhupada, or we have CDs of Srila Prabhupada's lectures. I recorded most of his books. You can get, while you're eating, while you're sleeping. People, they put them on while they're asleep. They figure they're learning even in their sleep. While you're eating, while you're driving. There's no excuse. Krishna has made it so wonderful with this technology. If we use it, you're driving for 100 miles, you can hear the whole Ramayana. Driving for 1,000 miles, you can hear the Ramayana 4 times. Or you can hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's so much to listen to out there now. And it's available on the tables here, or from myself personally, whichever you like. So the important part is that we understand that if we surrender to Krishna, if we make Krishna our all in all. Now, how do you remember Krishna? Lots of people tell me, look, I go to a job, I have 9 to 5. How am I going to remember Krishna when I'm sitting at a computer, in a computer station, for almost 8 hours? How can I remember Krishna? So there are different ways to remember him. First of all, you can tattoo his name on your wrist if you want, like I did. I got a good deal too. So that's one way. I used to do it with a pen. So eventually I got tired of, after 20 years, I decided to stop writing the letter K on my wrist. So what I decided to do is go to a tattoo artist, which is about 4 blocks down, and I asked him, I showed him the K that I had done, that I'd written on my wrist, and I said, well, how much will this cost me for you to do? He said, well, we have a minimum. I said, what's your minimum? He said, $50. I said, $50 for that little K? I said, I see people with mermaids on their whole arm for $50. I said, you must be kidding. He says, no, I'm not kidding. I said, I'm a monk. I don't have money. I beg, and I'm begging you now for a discount. He says, where are you, monk? I said, the Hare Krishna temple. I says, oh, he says, I know about that place. I said, how do you know about that place? He said, my brother goes there on Sunday for the feast. I said, well, he goes for the feast, you owe me a discount. He said, okay, $40. He did. It's not a true story. So he did it for $40. It took him like 10 minutes to put the K on, and it's been on there for the last, I guess, 6 or 7 years, and hasn't rubbed off either. And another thing that, okay, that's just one way to do it. That's the way there are other ways that you can do it. Actually carry a book around, and it's about Krishna. You can, as I said, listen to the different pastimes of Krishna. You can do that on the CDs which we have. You can come to the classes that we have. We have an internet now. Every class that's put on that comes from this Vyasa-san, it's on the internet, and you don't have to be there. You can get it later on, later in the evening. Or if you just type in that person's name with the date and the Bhagavatam number, lesson, you can pick it up that way on the internet. Everything is now available. There is no excuse to remain ignorant. Really. Everyone now has the facility to become a wise man, a wise woman. It's all there. All we have to do is make use of the facility. That's it. Krishna is doing so much for us. What are we doing? Don't we owe something to Krishna? He gives us food. He gives us clothing. He gives us shelter. He gives us health. He gives us strength and vitality and vigor. He also gives us food, clothing, shelter, health, strength, vitality, vigor. He gives us knowledge. He gives us understanding. He gives us so many different things. And he gives us hot water. Even that's amazing. Millions of people don't have hot water. Millions of people don't even have faucets to get the hot water. We are getting so many opportunities which make our life easier. Quite often in India, when they have to get water, they have to go usually down to the lake or to the river or to the pump, and they pump it and they have to bring it back to the home. Then they have to heat it, and some of the water will be used for washing dishes. Some of the water will be used for bathing. Some of the water, it's not easy going down back and forth from the pump or from the river. It takes up time. It takes up energy. It takes up your vigor. It takes up thinking even. What if it's raining really hard and you have to go down there and the mud is all over your legs? Krishna is making it so easy here. In that nor'east, I was seeing the pictures of what people are going through. Over 1 million people without electricity. Think about it. And if we're one of them. But here, everything is like we're in the spirit. We're already in the heavenly planet. We got no problems here. So let's make good use of our time, or our efforts, our energy. Let's make the best use, which is, as Prabhupada says here, the goal is Krishna. Let me never forget Krishna. Let me always remember Krishna. Now, if we do that, then Krishna will always be remembering us. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always within the heart of the pure devotee. The devotee does not know anything else but me, and I do not know anything else but him. So that's Krishna. He's waiting for us. He's eager to hear from us. For example, if you're a mother or a father and you have some children, they've gone off to college, what do you say? Please, the old days it was write home. Now it's please email home. And every day, and if possible, twice a day. Because we love them and we want to hear from them. It's just natural. So similarly, Krishna, being more sensitive, more loving, kinder, sweeter, more generous than all of us put together 1 million billion times, wants to hear from us. He wants to hear. So all you have to do is just, we have these books, start reading the books. Then he's hearing from you because these are his words. And when we repeat his words, we're showing that we appreciate him, that we want him, that we like him, that we exalt him, we think highly of him. So when we do that, Krishna then bestows his mercy on us. What does it mean to get the mercy? I'm going to tell a little story if you hang around for another 5 minutes. It's a story about a king who got some mercy. Please stay for the story, even if you don't like what I'm saying. So anyway, where was I? I just lost my place. What was I saying? You seem to be following well. Yeah. Yeah, but that's coming. But the point that I was talking about, huh? Come on, I'm trying to see how many are asleep. About what? I can't hear what he's saying. Yes, right. Thank you very much. Yes, so these are the things that tell Krishna that you're interested in him. So when you show him that you're interested in him, that you want him, that you like him, that you think he's worth reading, that you think he's worth following, that his instructions are useful and beneficial, they've been going on and being followed for millions and millions of years, well, he's going to help you. He's going to bestow his mercy on you. He's going to give you guidance. We're having a little drought here. Look what happened. 2 days, psh, all the rain came down. And now what? Beautiful, sunny, balmy day. That's Krishna. You got a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff here. And that's why it's coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if it had a lot to do with what's going on that altar and the devotees who are going out and distributing books of Krishna. This all affects the whole environment. So when you chant Hare Krishna, we're going to affect everyone everywhere, because the vibration travels out and it's a positive vibration. It's non-different from Krishna. So when we send Krishna out into the world, it in some way invisibly affects everybody in some manner or form, and they get benefited. So that's the main point. To not only help ourselves, but to help so many people who need this kind of help. So I said I would tell you this little story. I see some of us are leaving. Fine. For those of you who are staying, hold your breath and fasten your seatbelts. Here's what happened. Once there was a king, and he had a minister. And the minister had a habit of saying, "Such is the mercy of God." He said it, he would say it all the time. Whatever he would see happen, he would say, "Such is the mercy of God." So one day the king decided to go out on a hunting expedition, and he took the minister with him. And they also took a few guards with them. And so they were riding their horses on a trail. And as they were approaching about 50 yards away, there was a cobra lying right in the middle of the trail. And as soon as the cobra heard the horses coming, it reared its head up and was ready to bite whoever would come near it. So the horses were coming at a pretty fast trot. And what happened was that as they got close, as the king's horse got close, it reared up its legs. And what happened is the king got thrown down to the ground, and he landed right by the cobra, and his thumb was right by the cobra's fangs. Now the cobra thought he was being attacked, so the cobra took his fang right into the thumb. So the king saw what was happening, and his minister said, "Ah, such is the mercy of God." So the king looked at him, glowering, angry. The mercy of God. So he said, "I'm going to be dead in a few minutes if I don't get this thumb off." So what he did is he took out his knife, and he put his thumb on a rock, took a deep breath, and whoosh, off came the thumb. And the minister said, "Ah, such is the mercy of God." He said, "How can that be mercy? You're crazy. I don't want you as my minister anymore." He told the two guards there, "Take him back to the palace and throw him down into the dungeon, bread and water." So they took him away, and the king was now alone. And he said, "I'm glad I got rid of that guy." So anyway, what happens a few minutes later, he was surrounded by about 50 thugs, spelled Thugs. We have a similar English word called a thug. A thug is like a criminal. Well, these are pretty much like criminals. They are worshippers of goddess Kali, and they believe in giving Kali a human sacrifice. that you offer the body to Kali and she drinks the blood. This is illegal, by the way. It's not even in the scripture. Nonetheless, some people, for some reason or other, because they're bloodthirsty, they like to entertain such foolish ideas. So anyway, what happened, he was surrounded, and it just happened to be that the master of the group wanted to obtain a son. And in order to get a son, he wanted to offer Kali a human sacrifice of a well-built man. And so the king, of course, he was very well-built. So they took him, the thugs, they took him back to their retreat. And they took him, the first thing they did is they took him into the water. They wanted to wash him up. So they washed him up, took his clothes off and so forth. And then after they washed him up, they put a white sheet over his head and over his body. And then they brought him out to the area where he was supposed to be decapitated, his head cut off. So then, but before that's done, generally the head priest wanted to examine him carefully to make sure that everything was in order. Did I say that he cut off his head? Yeah, I did. So it's a fascinating story. So anyway, what happened was that the head priest wanted to examine him. So, first he looked at his teeth, looked at his ears, looked at his eyes, then he went down and checked his shoulders, and then he went to his arm and went to his hands, and then he said, "Hey, wait, your thumb is missing." So what happened to your thumb? He said, "Well, I was had to cut it off because there was a cobra, and the blood would have been poisoned, and the whole body would have gone down." He says, "He's completely useless. What'd you bring him here for? Get him out of here. Give him his horse back, and it's worthless. If you're going to bring somebody, make sure he's got all 10 digits. So they left him, and the king was riding back towards the palace, and he was saying, "Yeah, it's true." He says, "Such was the mercy of God. If I hadn't cut the thumb off, I'd be dead." So he went back but there was one question that he had. He couldn't figure it out. So he went back to the palace, went down into the dungeon, and he told his minister. He rehired him, of course. So he told him exactly what had happened. And he said, "But there's one thing I can't understand." He said, "What can't you understand?" He says, when I threw you, so to speak, into the dungeon, I told my orderlies to take you away and put you in the dungeon, bread and water. You said such was the mercy of God. How can that be the mercy of God? He said, "Well, if they hadn't taken me to the dungeon, I would be with you. And if I was with you, who do you think the thugs would have taken for the sacrifice?" Okay. Any questions? So that's the point. Mercy is always here for us. It's there to take. It's there to relish. It's there to. But we should be thankful, always thankful to Krishna, to his devotees, persons like Srila Prabhupada, and by being thankful to them, we get the very great mercy of Krishna upon us. And when we have that mercy, you get weather like this. You get good health. You get strength. You get things which appear to be accidents, things which happen to our favor. You're looking for a job. Some guy, he's been working 6 months looking for a job, and you go first time, you get it immediately. Or you don't get it immediately, but a day later, you get it. And it's just what you're looking for. So many things are out there, and Krishna knows where everything is because he is omnipresent and omniscient. He knows everything. And he can get us anything and everything we need to live a better life, a higher life, a greater life, a loving life, a life full of love for God, love for Krishna. And when we do that and we surrender to him in that manner and that form, he's pleased, you'll be pleased, your family will be pleased, all your friends will be pleased because you'll be manifesting transcendental bliss. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions that anyone might have on this particular talk or anything that I've said? And if I've said anything that might have been offensive, I apologize to you for it. Let me know what it is at the end of the talk. You have a question? Please, go ahead. Yeah, please. Oh, the question is, what is the meaning of the word munificent? It means one who is extremely, I'll give you a few words because they all pertain. He's kind, he's generous, he's charitable, he's especially charitable. Charitable in the sense, that's the meaning of it, the literal meaning is charitable. And how he was charitable, he gave out the holy name here, there, and everywhere so that people would make advancement. And instead of coming back, going to hell, they would, or coming back to this world, they would instead go back to the eternal world by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, becoming purified, being filled with love for God, being blissed out, and never having to come back. You got it? Okay, munificent. Thank you for your question. Good one. Anyone else? Okay, I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2. It's a long 2. You can see how much I love to talk. 3. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure sharing with you.
Namaho Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine